He honestly forgot about you, my cousin said when I asked her why I hadn't been invited to the party. I booked a luxury train trip through the Pyrenees while I watched the mountains. They watched everything burn. He honestly forgot about you, Lucia said without even looking up from her phone. Her voice was casual, as if she were commenting on the weather. I mean, it's been a while, no? He's been in London. People change. I blinked. He forgot about me. Finally, she looked at me as if my confusion were an annoyance. It's not that big of a deal, Alvaro. You weren't on the list. No apologies, no compassion. Just that. Hugo came back last week from university in London. My little brother, the one I helped raise, the one I paid rent for when he moved out, the one I sent money every month when our parents said they couldn't support him abroad, the one who called me crying after his second exam because he thought he'd failed and I stayed up all night talking to him to calm him down. That Hugo. I paid his phone bill so he could talk to his fiancée while he was away. I filled out half of his immigration paperwork because he hated forms. I even sold my vintage guitar to help him cover the deposit on his student flat. And he forgot about me. The party was all over the internet. A reception with Catherine in our parents' garden. Fairy lights. A champagne tower. Someone playing the saxophone. Everyone was there. Uncles, aunts, cousins I hadn't seen in years, even that neighbor Hugo hated as a kid. Everyone but me. They didn't invite me. The texts, the posts, they were like slaps. So proud of our golden boy. Welcome home, Hugo. Your family loves you. My name didn't appear once. Not in the speeches, not in the posts, not in the photos. I closed the app. My phone vibrated with a notification. Another post from the party. I turned it off. That night, a luxury train trip through the Pyrenees. First class. Panoramic carriage. Private suite. Multi-course dinner. Silence. I didn't tell anyone. I packed my bag and left the next morning. No explanations, no messages. No one noticed. While they toasted Hugo with champagne, I drank black coffee in a leather seat, watching the sun slide over the snow-capped peaks. The train vibrated beneath me like a secret. The silence was better than any speech. If you're not on the guest list, make your own plans. You're the one who wanted to help. No one forced you. That's what my mother said when I asked her why no one had invited me. Let me take you back. When Hugo got accepted into the master's program in London, our parents were thrilled, mostly because they could brag. The little one is going abroad, they told everyone. He was always the smart one. In every family scene, in every group call, Hugo was the star. I was the hidden stagehand, necessary, invisible, who filled out the visa documents when Hugo didn't understand a word of legalese. Me, who transferred the first semester's deposit while our parents said, "Our accounts are blocked." Me, who stayed up updating the embassy forms until 3 a.m. because Hugo lost his passport before the exams. Me too. I never complained. I just wanted someone to finally say, "Thank you, Alvaro. We see what you do." Instead, I got silence. Or worse, reproaches. "You're the oldest," Javier said one night. "It's your duty to help your brother get ahead." My duty? I asked. He's 24, not 14. You don't have a family of your own, Rosa chimed in. So it's not like you have other obligations. That hurt more than I let on. It was true. I didn't have a wife or kids, just a small apartment, a stable income, and that kind of silence that follows you to bed. I told myself that helping Hugo gave my life meaning, that every transfer, every favor was doing something useful. So, when he left for London, I didn't just say goodbye, I became his shadow assistant, his therapist, his emergency fund. When he called crying because his long-distance fiancée was thinking of leaving him, I sent her to see him. Not a metaphor. I paid €1,230 for a flight and told her it was from him so she wouldn't feel ashamed. They reconciled. She posted a soft-lit selfie with a caption that read, "When he makes it all work." Of course they didn't tag me. When he lost his internship and panicked about not being able to pay rent, I pulled from my emergency fund, the one I'd been saving for a down payment on an apartment, and told him, "Don't worry, just focus on your studies." But the more I gave, the less there was of him. His messages went from full paragraphs to one-word replies. The calls stopped. My name disappeared from the conversation. I didn't even know he was coming home until Lucia mentioned it during a family brunch. "Oh yeah, Hugo gets in next week." she said while dipping her toast in the yolk. There's something huge planned. I almost choked on my coffee. Something huge. Yeah, garden reception, fairy lights, open bar, live music, the whole shebang. I blinked. No one told me anything. Lucia stopped, as if realizing she'd put her foot in it. I'm sure you're invited. You have to be. But I wasn't. A week later, still no invitation. My call went unanswered. So I texted Rosa. Hi, what's the plan for Hugo's return? Do you want me to help set up? She replied 4 hours later. Oh, it's almost all under control. We figured you'd be busy with work. Busy with work. I stared at the message for a long time. That was it. No, we'd love for you to come. No, come early. Hugo will be thrilled to see you. Just, we figured. That night, I showed the message to my friend Isabel. She read it twice and said quietly, You know they're leaving you out on purpose, right? But I'm the one who helped him survive London. Exactly. And now that he doesn't need you anymore. That's why this is happening. Still, I clung to a tiny thread of hope. The night of the party, I dressed as if I might still get a last-minute invitation. I kept my phone close just in case. Nothing came. Instead, I watched the story start to upload. Hugo hugging our parents under a canopy of golden lights. Hugo dancing with his fiancée to the tune of a live saxophonist. Hugo raising a toast while Javier clapped like he'd just won Father of the Year. Lucia posted a group photo with the caption, The people who matter most. I wasn't in it. I called her. I never do that, so she answered instantly. Alvaro. What's up? Why wasn't I invited? Silence. Lucia sighed. I don't know. Maybe you should talk to Hugo. Did he know? Pause. No. Then, honestly, he just forgot about you. Just like that. I hung up before she could add anything else. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just opened my laptop. I went to the Luxury Pyrenean train website and booked something I'd been eyeing for years. The panoramic train through the Pyrenees. 4 days. Glass domes. Haute cuisine. No cell service. No family. The confirmation email arrived, and for the first time in months I felt peace. They had made their guest list. I would make mine. The day after I boarded the train, the party came crashing down, metaphorically, and almost literally. But I didn't know it yet. I was in a glass-domed carriage somewhere between Canfranc and Ribera del Ebro, drinking red wine while sunlight spilled across the Pyrenees. It was a thick silence but not empty. The kind of silence that has weight. As if it were holding your pain and giving you space to breathe it. Then my phone vibrated. No signal, of course. The train didn't believe in distractions. So I had no idea what was happening back home. Not yet. Not as I watched gold leaf trees blur against snow-dusted cliffs and ate duck confit on white porcelain. But it was all crumbling. They always thought I was the quiet one, the boring one, the one who would never erupt. And maybe that was true. Until they made it painfully clear that I didn't matter. Apparently, it all started to unravel when Claudia, Hugo's fiancée, discovered he hadn't paid a single wedding deposit. I had. The venue, the planner, the photographer, all covered by the famed family card our parents gave him, but which was secretly linked to my account. I'd forgotten about it. I'd let it slide. And now Claudia found the statements while checking his laptop and exploded, because he told her he'd paid for everything with his savings, that he was financially stable, that I'd barely helped him, that I wasn't even close to the family. When I found a Google Doc titled, Alvaro Contingency Plan Worst Case Scenario, I completely broke. Want to guess what it said? A step-by-step list of what to say if I tried to confront him publicly. Deflections, dismissals, lines like, Alvaro has always been dramatic. He gets jealous when I'm successful. He just wants attention. I'm not kidding. When I finally got off the train and regained signal, my phone exploded with notifications. Messages from Rosa, voice notes from Javier, missed calls from Lucia, and a frantic text from Claudia. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. You were right about everything. And then came the core family group chat. 13 people. Hugo. Alvaro, we need to talk. Rosa. Please don't make this worse. Javier. This is not the time for one of your speeches, Lucia. Lucia. Everything is burning. Literally. Claudia. I left. I'm at a hotel. Don't call me. I stared at the screen and let out a laugh. It was finally happening. And then I got a call from Grandma Carmen. I hadn't heard from her in months. She was the only one who had always truly seen me. She always said, "Your silence is louder than their boasts." "Alvaro," she said without even greeting me, "you didn't go to the party. They didn't deserve you." Pause. "Would you like to come for dinner this week? Just us." I blinked. "Are you inviting me?" "Of course. I'm not blind. I've seen all of this for years." That was all I needed to hear. But the real storm hit 2 days later. I was back in the city when Rosa called and demanded a meeting. "We need to talk about this, Alvaro," she said. "For the family." So I went. We met at the family house, the same one where Hugo's party had been, now eerily silent, as if the celebration had been bleached away. When I walked in, the air was already thick. Hugo sat in the living room, pale, silent, hands clenched. Javier stood by the fireplace. Rosa paced. Claudia's absence felt like a ghost no one could name. And then Rosa turned to me, hands on her hips. "This has been childish," she began. "You made a scene by not coming. Do you have any idea how humiliating it was to explain to the guests why you weren't there?" I raised an eyebrow. Humiliating for whom? For us. People were asking if we'd had a falling out. I had to say you were busy with work. Hugo looked up. "Why are you trying to sabotage me?" I let out a dry laugh. "That's what you think I'm doing? Sabotaging you? You didn't even tell me you were upset. You could have said something. Just like when I texted Mom to offer to help with your party and she ignored me. Or when I found out via Lucia's Instagram that I wasn't invited." Lucia, who'd been shrinking in a corner, mumbled uncomfortably. "Technically, you weren't uninvited." "Enough, Lucia." My voice cracked. "You all knew." Hugo stood up. "Look, I didn't think you'd want to come. We're at different points in our lives. I just got back from a master's degree abroad. You know, you're still at the same job." The same job. The job that paid for his degree. The job that paid for his flat. The job that bought his ring. "Wow," I said, taking a step forward. "Repeat that, but slower. You're twisting my words." "No, I'm just hearing them. Exactly as they are." Rosa cut in. "Enough. We didn't mean to exclude Alvaro, but he's always been sensitive." There it was. The classic family jab. Not ignored. Not utilized. Sensitive. I took out my phone, opened my banking app and showed them the screen. 44,870 euros. That's what I'd transferred over the past 3 years. Does this look like someone who's sensitive? No one said a word. This is how much of my life I've handed over. Silently. Willingly. And what did I get in return? An Instagram story captioned, "The people who matter most." Javier rubbed his forehead. "Let's not turn this into a drama." "Of course it's a drama," I snapped. "It's your favorite genre. With Hugo as the golden boy, Mom as the martyr, and me as the background extra." Silence. And then I did something I never thought I would do. I walked over to the mantelpiece, picked up a framed family photo. Hugo at his graduation, me cut off at the edge, and turned it face down. "I'm done," I said, looking at them. "Done helping. Done paying. Done being quiet." "Alvaro," Rosa whispered. "You don't mean that." Hugo's voice cracked. "You're my brother." I looked him in the eye. "No. I was your wallet." And then I left. I didn't look back as I walked out. Not because I didn't want to, but because I knew if I did, some part of me would waver, would try to forgive, would go back to being quiet. But that version of me didn't survive that living room that day. The silence that followed was deafening. No missed calls. No texts. No desperate apologies. Just peace. The first night, I sat alone in my apartment and allowed myself to feel it. The stillness. The lightness of not carrying anyone else's life. It was strange, almost unnerving. Like taking off a backpack you've been wearing for 10 years without realizing it. And then, on the third day, the messages started. The first was from Rosa. "You've made your point. Enough already." The second from Javier. "Your brother is devastated. He hasn't eaten. Are you happy?" I didn't reply because I was happy. Not in an arrogant way, not out of revenge, but in a free way. It's that kind of happiness that feels like sun on your skin after years in a basement. The irony. For the first time in my life, I didn't want to fix anything. I didn't feel guilty. I didn't wonder if I'd overreacted. Instead, I started to live. I took myself to breakfast. I sat on a street corner with a book, no phone. I walked through the park listening to jazz. I deleted the family group chat. I changed the password on the shared Netflix account. Small things maybe, but they felt like reclaiming oxygen. Then, on the 5th day, my cousin Lucia called. I almost didn't answer. "Hi," she said quietly. "Can we talk?" "About what?" "About what happened." "It's just, I didn't know it would go this far." I laughed. "This far, Lucia? I wasn't invited to my own brother's party." She hesitated. "I knew," she admitted. "I knew you weren't invited. Hugo asked me not to tell you," he said. "Alvaro won't mind. He's always busy anyway." There it was. The mask finally falling. I didn't say anything. "Claudia left him," she added quickly, like ripping off a bandage. She found the bank statements. Figured everything out. "I'm gutted for him," she said. "He had no idea you used your card or that he lied or about the France trip. She's furious. Says she doesn't even know who he is anymore." Pause. "She also said that you're the only reason she gave him a second chance that time." I felt the words settle heavy in my chest. They didn't hurt. They just were. "Anyway," Lucia said, her voice smaller now, "I'm sorry. For playing along. For being a coward." I didn't tell her it was okay because it wasn't. But I thanked her for telling the truth. The next day my phone rang. "Javier." I let it ring. Then he sent a text. "Come to dinner on Sunday. No pressure, just to talk." I didn't reply. I wasn't ready to sit at that table again. Not as the same person I'd been before, invisible there. On the 7th day, I got a text from Claudia. "You were right about him. About everything. I'm so sorry. Thank you for everything you did. I just wish I'd known sooner." I stared at her message for a long time. Not because it hurt. Because it didn't. Felt like justice. Meanwhile, the family was starting to crack. Rosa posted vague Facebook updates like, "Forgiveness is divine," and "Some people need time to grow." Javier sent passive-aggressive texts. "We all have a role in this family, Alvaro. You've always been the strong one." But I didn't want to be the strong one anymore. I wanted to be me. So I started cleaning up the debris. I canceled the family card. I changed the autopay on Hugo's subscriptions. I removed myself from shared files, calendars, accounts. I left the family group chat for good. Each action felt like turning a key in a lock, not to lock them out but to let myself out. I spent the next few days in a quiet place in the mountains. No signal, no conversations, just air. And for the first time in years, I wasn't thinking about who needed something from me. I was thinking about what I needed. They thought I'd come back. They always do. That's the thing about people who use you. They assume you'll reset. That your boundaries are temporary, your anger a performance. That you'll calm down, apologize, and resume the role they assigned you. But not this time. Not after the silence. Not after the truth came out. Not after watching them squirm under the weight of the lives they built on my back. It's been a month. A full month since the party I wasn't invited to. Since I canceled the autopays, erased myself from their plans, and started writing my own. Since Claudia left. Since Hugo's perfect image shattered like a champagne glass on marble. They've tried everything. Last week Rosa left me a voicemail that started with, "You're messing with this family. It's falling apart and you're letting it." And she's right. I am letting it. Because for the first time in my life, I'm choosing not to fix what I didn't break. Yesterday Javier texted, "I hope you're proud. Your brother is depressed. Your mother cries every day. You know what's crazy? They never asked how I am. Not once. Not after erasing me. Not after using me. Not after celebrating the golden boy I bankrolled while pretending I didn't exist. But that's the point, isn't it? It was never about me. I was a silent resource, a bank account with a familiar face. So when I disappeared, they didn't lose me. They lost access. And now they're panicking. Lucia texted me a few nights ago. You should see the family group chat now. It's chaos. Hugo isn't talking to anyone. Your mom is threatening to rewrite the will. It's like you lit a match and walked away. I didn't light the match. They did. When they left me off the guest list. When they said, "He forgot about you." When they laughed and toasted and danced pretending I was dead weight. All I did was stop putting out their fires. The strange thing about peace is how addictive it gets. I used to think love was sacrifice. That family was endurance. That being a good son or a good brother meant swallowing disrespect for the greater good. But now love to me looks like freedom. It looks like silence that heals, not silence that hides. It looks like waking up without bracing for the next emotional invoice. And you know what else? I'm not bitter. That surprised me. I honestly thought I'd be burning with rage. But I'm not. I'm done with the fire. That belonged to them. I have something better. Quiet. Control. My own name. This morning I posted a photo from that train trip. The one from the panoramic carriage with the snow-capped peaks. In the caption I wrote, "If they don't put you on the guest list, create your own destination." It went a little viral. Even Claudia liked it. Lucia sent me a screenshot of the family group chat going nuts. Rosa. Now he's mocking us publicly. Javier. Leave him. We've lost him. You never had me. You had my money. My silence. My help. But you never saw me. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe someday I'll sit across from Hugo, and he'll say the words I deserved 10 years ago. I'm sorry. I used you. I was selfish. Maybe he won't. Either way, I'm not waiting for it. I've stopped building bridges that only I walk across. From now on, I build walls. Not to keep others out, but to keep myself in. To protect the parts of me that withered trying to keep others comfortable. To guard the peace I bled for. To finally, unapologetically choose myself.